The Fun by Diane Hoh.
Landers would always remember exactly where she was and what she was doing when the Devil's Elbow roller coaster went flying off its track, shooting straight out into the air and hanging there for a few seconds before plummeting to the ground. The crash killed Dade Lewis, destroyed Sherry Buchanan's face, and separated Joey Furman forever from his left leg. A dozen other roller coaster riders and 10 passers-by were injured. Before the crash, Tess was buying a hot dog, fries, and a large Coke at a stand near the roller coaster. Its multicolored cars were making their rattle-clackety climb up the last and most treacherous leg of the journey. The noise didn't bother Tess. She had lived in Santa Luisa all of her life and was used to the sounds of the boardwalk, the amusement park along the ocean front of the town. Thanks to a mild climate, the boardwalk was open all year round. Good thing, too, Tess thought, since without the boardwalk, half the population would be unemployed. And closing the park, even briefly, would drive most of Santa Luisa's teenagers stark raving mad. Some worked there, in the shops and arcades and restaurants. Most just played there. What else was there to do in town? Tess had been wearing jeans, boots, and a heavy sweater. She had been waiting for her best friend, Gina Jambone. Gina was always late, but she was fun and cute, and she dated a lot. She was as short and round as Tess was tall and skinny, with dark curly hair framing her olive-skinned face. Gina never seemed to be nervous or upset, and Tess envied her. Maybe it was because Gina was part of a large, happy Italian family of 6 kids. Tess's mother had died when Tess was 9 years old. When she was 13, her father, Guy Joe Landers Sr., had married Shelley, who was much younger than he. Now they had separated. Their marriage had lasted until just 6 weeks ago, when Shelley had packed her things and left, taking Tess with her. Now Shelley had decided she needed a 2-week holiday in Europe with her best friend, Madeline. Shelley had given Tess the choice. Either stay with her father and brother at the mansion, or hang out on her own at Shelley's apartment. At 17, Shelley said, Tess was old enough to take care of herself. Tess wasn't so sure. The Shadows, the exclusive condominium complex where she and Shelley lived, was set deep in the woods, on a hill above the town. It was beautiful during the day, but it could be cold and lonely when darkness fell. On the other hand, Tess had no desire to stay with her father and her brother, Guy Joe Jr. She couldn't forgive Guy Joe for choosing to live with their father. She couldn't even understand it. Their father had always been too busy for his children. Well, at least he's my real parent, Guy Joe had said pointedly. Okay, Tess thought. So Shelley was their stepmother, but at least she could be fun. And her father hadn't even tried to stop her when she decided to live with Shelley. Tess was deep in thought when Gina came up to her.
Hi, Tess. Gina! You shouldn't sneak up on people like that when I'm eating a hot dog. I could choke to death. My hair probably turned white.
Your hair is still the same mousy shade it always was.
Oh, thanks for the compliment. Why are you in such a good mood tonight?
Because I see Doss Beecham over there working in the ring toss booth. I think I'm making some progress with him. He stopped calling me Jamboni. He actually said, "Hey, you," yesterday.
I don't know what you see in that guy anyway. Well, he's just a big bruiser in a white t-shirt. He spends more time combing that mess of black hair than he does anything else.
He's cute. Besides, I feel sorry for him. Doss used to be one of us, remember? Just because his father lost all their money, everyone looks down on him now.
No, Gina, people look down on Doss because he's a grouch who thinks the world owes him a living.
That's unfair.
Tess knew that the Beecham family weren't exactly starving to death. They still owned their big house on the hill, which they bought for cash years ago, and Tess had heard that Doss paid the taxes on the house out of his earnings. That was something in his favor. He hadn't let his family get tossed out on the street.
Well, Gina, where's Beak tonight?
He's probably playing skee-ball, and you're about as subtle as a jackhammer. I like Beak, you know that, but how would you like to date a guy named Beak?
Oh, come on, Gina. You know, that doesn't matter. It's just a name.
Tess liked Beak, or rather Robert Rapp, which was his real name. At 18, his features were perfectly proportioned, which hadn't been the case when he was younger, and his nose had been the most prominent feature on his thin face. Beak liked pulling practical jokes, but he was nice. Doss was a different character altogether.
Hey, Tess. How you doing?
Hi, Doss.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, Tess, so where's Sam?
Gina, how should I know? I don't own Sam Oliver.
Hey, Tess. Who rattled your cage? As a matter of fact, I saw Sam back there. Alone. You two split?
Never mind, Doss. Hey, why don't you and Gina order your food while I check out the girls' room, okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Bye.
Tess didn't feel like hanging around while Gina got to know someone who was probably all wrong for her. But then, who was right for anybody, Tess thought? Her father hadn't been right for Shelley. And not too long ago, Tess thought Sam Oliver was perfect for her. Wrong. Tess pushed open the creaky old metal door to the restroom opposite the Devil's Elbow. She heard the rattle-clatter of the roller coaster as it headed up to the top of its highest climb. Tess didn't mind scary rides, but she hated the roller coaster. She had ridden it once when she was 9 years old. Never again. Her heart had thudded for hours after. She came out of the restroom just in time to see the roller coaster begin its last thundering descent. She imagined what it would feel like. The wind hitting her face, the air heavy with screams and shouts, the last plunge seeming to take forever, but actually lasting only a second. Then that moment of relief as the train reached the last gentle curve before coasting back home. That was the way it was supposed to happen. But not this time. This time it was horribly, shockingly different. This time, instead of following the track, the lead car sailed out into the air, hung there for a second or two, then plunged downward to the boardwalk below, dragging the remaining 11 cars after it. Tess stood huddled against the wall. She couldn't believe what had happened in front of her. Then something caught her eye. A figure in black slipped out from underneath the tracks. Black slacks, black turtleneck sweater, black ski mask, a moving shadow blending into the darkness. Tess saw the figure as just a blur, but something struck her as strange. Instead of rushing to the boardwalk to help, the figure was moving away from the scene. Was it going for help, Tess wondered? But why not use the phones nearby? And what was it doing under the Devil's Elbow in the first place?